Welcome to the Forge Truth Podcast, where we are building great men as God defines greatness. Forge is a movement of men with a mission to help all men realize they are the deeply beloved, redeemed sons of the Most High God. I'm your producer, Zach, and I'm here to discuss the issues that affect men the most with our two hosts, Dr. Pete Alwinson, lifelong pastor and leader of Forge, and Jayson Quiñones, Bishop of Core Faith Church in Oviedo, Florida. Men, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great. It's always good to be with you guys.
It is great to be with you guys. Here we go again. We have a unique day today.
Yeah, it should be a very compelling episode, I think. Pete, why don't you introduce the guests we have in studio today?
Well, with us is Jeff White. Jeff White. Good to have you with us, Jeff.
Thank you,
you're
Pete.
Here, man.
Thank you, Pete. Lots of years together at Forge and even down at the SeaWorld as you did the morning over there for us for the sunrise service. That was the time you were able to meet my wife as well, which I still look upon as being a great, great morning.
That was a good morning. I enjoyed that time. But Jeff, you were with us in the early days of Forge and all of our sites. And we're here, now we're at Willow Creek Church in Winter Springs, Florida. And then you were with us for all those years. And then you decided to take a turn and retire in an expatriate community in Mexico. But therein began an incredible story. But give us a quick update of your life, of what you did. What line of work were you in? What did you do up to the time of your retirement?
I've split my time because I was 37 years in Indiana, 37 years here in Florida at this point. So I don't know where I belong. Where are my roots? They're both places, which is a good thing, actually.
Yeah.
Because you can pull in a lot of good things of life from all of your experiences.
Yeah.
So with those experiences, I was in education and a coach. So in Indiana, you know what I coached. It had to be basketball, of course.
Right. There you go.
So
is there any other sport?
That's kind of how it is.
Yeah.
So here in Florida, the same thing, teaching and coaching, engineering, architecture, had a engineering academy at Astronaut High School in Titusville on the Space Coast. So that's where I was at. And then I retired at this point 12 years ago. Did some consulting work and those type of things in the engineering, architecture areas, building houses and so on. So interesting. And along with that, different perspectives as you go through life.
Yeah.
And lots of different churches along the way as well. Mm-hmm. So that brought me then to Forge, being here in the Oviedo area as I moved here. And after the big house that we had here in Oviedo, we decided that, you know what, my wife and I, that's a bit more than we want to keep chewing on.
Yeah, right.
So at that point, we decided that, you know what, we're going to look around, see what we want to do. Well, we had taken a vacation down to Mexico, and how we got to that vacation in Mexico is a bit of an unusual story because I normally am not reading National Geographic. I just have to be honest. But in this National Geographic article, it was online, it wasn't actually the book, they had the 5 best areas or best weather in the world. Well, the first one was in Costa Rica. So, I did get my phone out and, yes, the computer and looked it up. It was in no man's land. It was in the boonies, but volcanic area around it. That's something that is important, evidently, because the second best area was at Lake Chapala in Mexico, and there are 3 little cities around it, all of them with a lot of expatriates, so you don't have to speak Spanish. My 2 years of high school Spanish were not going to work. No way. So we went down there on a vacation, and the largest inland lake in Mexico, 5,000 foot elevation, surrounded by volcanic mountains. So that's the reason for the beautiful weather. And there's always a breeze because of the way the mountains and everything are set up.
At 5,000 foot elevation, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes
So thought, this is nice. So we decided about a year later that we'll go back down there again and see if this is something we might want to do. So again, we flew into Guadalajara, rented a car, went back to the racket club at San Juan Casala. I'm a pickleball player, so I wanted to make sure they had my sport.
Come on.
Very important.
Yeah. Got to keep yourself healthy. So, and we had talked about what we might do from the standpoint of the spiritual side. We'd gone to a couple different churches and hadn't come up with that. There wasn't a conclusion there. But we decided that, we're going to try this for a year. So we pretty much decided that we were going to sell the big house. And we did. Sold everything. We had a 5x5 by 8 foot tall storage unit, and everything else went into my Dodge Ram limited pickup with a tonneau cover, and gave our clothes to Hope Chest, and except for what we were taking down there. But the toughest thing is we had our family Bibles, we had our pictures, we had all the memorabilia with us. Now you say, well, what's that got to do with it? Well, we wanted it. We were going to be there a year.
Yeah.
So we packed up, but we packed up a month early. So we did all this, and then the 1st of May, we traveled the United States, went to see family in the Midwest, but went to Niagara Falls and Branson, did all the shows there.
You put some miles.
We went pretty much coast to coast, because here we are on the East Coast. And after visiting family, we ended up in Laredo, Texas, on the 29th of May. And we spent a couple of nights there, and we had to get our Mexican insurance. Your United States insurance doesn't work in Mexico. I think the insurance companies in the United States understand better than I understood the negatives of Mexico. So we got the insurance taken care of, crossed the border on the 31st of May, spent the night.
What year?
It'll be 2 years in June.
Okay.
Yep. Our anniversary of it's been 2 years is coming up, June the 1st. So we spent the night in Zacatecas, which is on the way to Guadalajara. And then the next morning we're off, and we are an hour and about 15 minutes from our destination. And everybody told us, be careful, but if you take the toll roads, that's the safer means of transportation going. So we were coming off of a toll road, taking an exit, and the exit was cut through a mountainous area. So there were mountains on the left and the right as we turned and came off the toll road. So we're coming off the toll road, and there's a car that, looking back on it, they'd staked us out for a long time. And they blocked the road, and with their automatic weapons, 4 of them, hop out of the car that's blocked the road with mountains on both sides. And I assumed we were going to be robbed. Well, it was a little more than that. A little more than that. So as it ended up, God was kind of there watching out for us, because when the guy hit me with his butt of his rifle, I had a bruise on my knee that bothered me for a while. Yanked me out of the truck, and I thought, okay, but you just give them what they want. So I took my wallet out, which was a godsend, because when I took my wallet out, I took all my money, and he could see this, and I gave it to him. I put my wallet back in my pocket, and I ended up keeping it.
Wow.
which was a godsend, as it turned out. So Connie's on the other side of the vehicle, and they've pushed her over against the mountain, and they've gotten pretty much the stuff that they needed at that point, because this all happened pretty fast. Gunshots in the air.
Wow.
Is
that how they stopped you?
Pardon?
Did they fire to stop you?
They had the vehicle turned to where we couldn't get around.
Yeah.
So, and I had to stand on the brakes to get stopped. So, and then they piled out. One stood in front with his weapon pointed through the windshield, and the others, two on Connie's side to get her out of the truck, and one on my side. So she evidently looked more
threatening. She was more threatening than you. They were like, we need two over here, one over here.
This woman is threatening. So anyway.
Well, realistically, a man is going to protect, but a woman, she could just go ballistic. And so they're like, we might need to control her. I don't know.
So
they're used to Hispanic women,
right? Hispanic women are very intense. And so it's men are more rational in those moments. And so we're kind of thinking through okay, what is the best scenario? A woman is like, I really don't care. I'm willing to die. It's, but anyway, that's my thought. I don't know, but we'll go with that.
All right.
So we're there. We're both out of the vehicle. And again, I'm thinking they're going to just rob me of our monies.
Yeah.
So they herded me around to the other side of the vehicle and got Connie and I up against the wall. Are we up for execution? Well, at that point, one guy had already gotten in the truck, and they sped off, went around the vehicle, which was probably the reason for some of the damage, because there wasn't room. I didn't think there was room to get around that vehicle. And then they piled into their vehicle that they had crossing the road, blocking the road. And Connie and I are up against a mountain, standing there.
Your hands up?
No.
Not
at that point.
Yeah, no.
Dumbfounded. Okay, because both Connie and I thought that we were going to be robbed. Well, we were. We were hijacked and everything was gone.
They took off. Just
Took
left you there on the side of the road.
Took off, yeah. But we weren't, one of us taken for ransom, which could have happened.
Yeah.
So we're thankful for that. We're both alive. Thankful for that.
Yeah.
So what do we do?
What did you do?
Well, I remember back in 2010 when I became a born-again Christian, I took a step in the other direction. It was kind of the same thing, truly.
Yeah.
I can look back on it and go, quite similar in the thought process. First thing I did is I went out up by the side of the road and tried to wave down some other people exiting. And after 4 cars went by and nobody stopped, I turned to Connie and go, Connie, if I were driving one of those cars, I wouldn't have stopped. There's no way I would stop in this situation. So we've got to do something. So that's really it. That was the time then that we took that step to go to where the road continued down the exit.
And what headed to where you were supposed to go, right?
Well, one step at a time.
Yeah. Wow.
One step at a time. And we were still an hour and 15 minutes away from our destination by vehicle.
Yeah.
So, and as we walked down, and Connie was still recovering from a knee replacement. So as we're walking down, we held hands wherever we went. So we're just holding hands just like we would have been coming out of church. Yeah. You just fall back into your comfortable pattern.
Wow.
It wasn't really comfortable, but the holding hands was. So we walked down toward the exit, and as we got down further, I could see that there was an 18-wheeler that was pulled off the side of the highway, 6-lane highway going down to Guadalajara. He was off on the side of the road. And I told Connie, I said, we've got to get down there because he could be leaving. We've got to get down there. She said, well, I can't go any faster. So I kind of sped up and jogged down there. And he was asleep in his cab. So the truck driver, I woke him up. He didn't want anything to do with me. And my 2 years of high school Spanish were not going to communicate very well because he wasn't speaking a word of English. But with hand gestures, bandito, policia, he got the gist that there was a problem. And Connie finally got up there at that point. It took her a little while to get there. And he could see that we were pretty much in need of something, and we were not a threat. So
Right.
he got us up into the truck, and off we went with him.
Wow.
And he knew from his driving, his route, that there would be police down quite a few miles, actually, at where there was construction. So he took us down there, and we got out of his vehicle. We're along the side of the road again, just the two of us. And the police are on the other side of this 6-lane highway under an overpass. So they were in the shade. So we had to maneuver 6 lanes, some guardrails to get to the other side. And that started our adventure with the police.
Good night. So you connected with the police, and then what happened next?
Well, the connection was physical because verbally no one spoke English, and I didn't speak enough Spanish to, again, get a lot done. But they knew at that point that we were hijacked and banditos and all this. So they had an ambulance come, which took quite a while because Connie needed to be checked out. She had had bilateral pulmonary embolisms 4 years prior and was concerned about her health, but she was okay. And I was only bruised. So
he did whack you. I mean, he whacked you with the butt end of his rifle.
Yeah, to get me out of the truck quicker.
Was it an AK?
Something in that line.
An automatic weapon, and
Yeah.
they fired several rounds that'll get your attention because those suckers are loud.
And we had mountains on both sides.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, I was echoing there. Yeah.
So it was. They had our attention.
Yeah.
They had our attention.
Did they speak English?
No.
Oh.
Well, to my knowledge,
Right.
no.
Yeah. Well, they didn't speak.
They
to you in
didn't
English.
speak any
Yeah.
English to us. It was obvious what their intentions. Well, I still thought their intentions were just to rob us. I didn't know we were going to be left on the side of the road.
Right. Wow. Okay, so you're with the police. The police send an ambulance for you.
Well, yeah.
Or for Connie anyway, and then.
So, we both ended up in the police vehicle, and they wanted us. They ended up getting another young lady from the police department that could speak a little English.
Yeah.
So between a little Spanish and a little English, we were able to verbalize what was going on and all that. So the police wanted to take us back to where it happened because we needed a police report. Well, trying to give directions, when you're really in a position to where we're not communicating well, that was tough.
Frustrating. Yeah.
Tough.
Yeah.
And finally, I got back to. I'm very good directionally. If we would never have found this with Connie because she is she's directionally challenged. So we got back to where it happened, and their comments that I could understand and get from the kind of interpreter was that this was the perfect spot. And it probably wasn't the first time.
Yeah, probably not.
So,
wow.
So that took us back then to the police department. and multiple, should I say that a few more times?
Yeah, right.
Pages of testimony, whatever. And in Mexico, it's not quite the same as it is in the United States.
Right. It's tedious. It's tedious in the United States to deal with the police, but I can't imagine. Yeah.
Oh, tedious isn't a good enough explanation or painting the picture of all the stuff that they wanted us to do. And so we're writing this all out. And the long story short on that is they did get some food for us.
Wow.
And they were really very nice. But the other thing that I learned is, on the most part, everyone is on the take to the cartels at every level. So everything then has to go through the magistrate. And you can't leave until the magistrate is done. So all these reports go to the magistrate. So the next day we have to go down to the magistrate's office, which was not too far from the police department. So what are we doing? Well, the police walked us down carrying automatic weapons as they walk us down from the police department. And pretty much everywhere you go, there's someone of the police that is armed with an automatic weapon on a corner wherever that's close. And again, that is indicative of the cartel's negative influence. So we go to the magistrate and, this is going to have to be processed. Okay. So 4 days later.
Oh, man.
4 days later, the magistrate has the paperwork completed. And you couldn't leave until the magistrate was done. So we're there for 4 days, 4 nights. Or it might have only been 3 nights. And so what are we going to do? Well, the police walked us down to a hotel that was within walking distance of the police department. And the owner of the hotel was just wonderful. Spoke pretty good English. Had someone we could communicate with.
Nice.
And so we were there for, I think it was 4 nights actually. And they were very, very nice. And no way that I could pay them. But I did have my wallet.
You had what? Credit
no
card?
Money.
No cash, but you could do a credit card, couldn't you?
Oh, you think so?
Maybe you can get cash from your credit card.
You think so?
No.
Come on, Pete. That would
Really?
be too easy.
Too easy. Oh, man.
We went to 2 different banks. We went to anyone and everyone that you could think about approaching to find out what we could do. And the long story short is your credit card's not going to be good for pretty much anything other than a purchase in very, very select places. The select places are basically gas stations.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say maybe tourist areas, but...
This wasn't a tourist area.
Yeah, right.
I think in the tourist area it would have been a different scenario. So ultimately I worked up a deal with the hotel owner that I would put gas in his vans, and that's how I...
Because gas stations would take the money, the cars.
He would have just done it gratis. But I thought, no, he's been nice.
Yeah. Good,
and it's a safe place. We've got a place to sleep and shower. I've got to pay him. So we worked that out. So that was good. And they finally got a detective for the police department that was from originally San Antonio and had been in this area for years and years and years. So he came in and could speak with us in English. And he was going down to the area that we were originally going to on a weekend vacation with his wife. So ultimately, we got a ride to Guadalajara with him.
Huh.
But I'll tell you how cartel fearful everyone is.
Huh.
His wife had been hijacked in the city, car stolen. So when they were going on this vacation, they were taking their old bucket. I mean, this is a car that the cartel would never want to steal.
Right, that's right. That's right.
And that's what they traveled in.
And that's something.
Because if they took their better vehicle, they were concerned. This is a police detective.
Yeah.
He said, he got his handgun. He says, this doesn't mean anything. He says, this doesn't do me any good unless it's people that are not in the cartel.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because the cartels are armed up.
They're locked and loaded.
Yeah. Good, nice. So you got down to Guadalajara with them.
Yeah, and
then,
what an experience that ride was as well.
Oh,
but
man.
we got there, and but to show you the corruption that is rampant, and because the corruption is rampant with the cartels, it completely runs through the society. The police detective, when he went up to get gas, and I said, I'll pay for the gas to go since you're taking us. My Spanish is not good, but it's not terrible. He was trying to get the gas attendant who was putting the gas in to double the price so that he could get half of the money.
And that's something.
This is the police detective. Wow. Yeah, but I think a God-fearing attendant, probably a churchgoer, because the very, very Catholic oriented society. Yeah. He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. So I felt, there's a good guy. Wow. So we got down to Guadalajara and we'd stayed at a hotel by the airport previously one time. And so I knew where to go. And of course, there's two hotels together and two restaurants, and they're inside gated compound.
Yeah.
Everything's a compound.
Yeah.
So get in, and we go over to the first hotel. Well, they're booked. Completely.
No place to stay.
Walked over to the other hotel, which had a room. And again, this detective, he's still trying to get money from me. So he's trying to get me with my credit card to go up and to get with my credit card at the hotel to get money so that I can give him money. And that's there it
is. What an experience.
It's the way of life.
Yeah.
I mean,
so did you stay there and then just fly home?
No, fly home how? What do you need to fly, Pete?
Well, you need money. I mean, but credit card, you got a credit card.
But what do you need besides that?
But ID? Well, you had your ID.
I had a driver's license, but what do you need to get out of Mexico?
Oh, your visa. And that was in the truck. Passport.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Everything's gone.
Wow. Okay. So you have to get a new one of those.
Well, there's a little more to that.
Well, okay. So
we're at the hotel.
How do you do it? Yeah.
We're at the hotel, and they've got a complimentary business area where I can get on a computer. And fortunately, I couldn't get into either of my standard email accounts. I have an Outlook and I have a Gmail. Can't get into them because I'm on a computer that is, they don't know where, and I'm unable to get into those accounts.
Oh, yeah, right.
But I had an old Juno account. You remember your dial-up days? Mm-hmm. For those out there in the audience, if you're young, you don't know what I'm talking about. But for those of us my age, that was my first dial-up internet account was Juno, and I still had a Juno email account, and it's all webmail. I could get into my Juno account. So I had email addresses in there. So I was emailing family because at this point, they have gone crazy.
No contact from you.
It was 6 days. 6 days with no contact.
Your cell phone's in the car, the truck too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's gone.
Yeah.
All we had was our clothes that we were wearing. And I was lucky to commandeer my wallet.
Yeah. You kept the wallet.
That was luck. Well, no, it wasn't luck. God had his hand in that.
Yeah.
I believe that 100%. So at the hotel then I was able to make some contact. And we didn't know, but the family had all been just at wit's end. And they had been trying to contact. Well, our grandkids, we've got a grandson who is going to finish his doctorate. He's a rocket scientist, literally. He goes to work for he works for NASA in Houston now. And our other granddaughter is going to be an orthopedic surgeon. And then our grandson is in business at University of Alabama. Well, he's the one that's always online doing all this stuff business-wise. So he is the one assigned to get the word out, find out whatever you can. So ultimately, he's been trying to go through Guadalajara because they knew that was our closest big city destination, the consulate. Consulate wouldn't deal with them.
The American consulate wouldn't?
Nope. You got to go through the embassy.
Oh.
Uh-huh. Well, did I know this?
File this, Zach. Zach's one of our big travelers. You file all this stuff, right? Embassy, not the consulate. What's the difference?
I have no clue.
I don't either. I mean, we're Americans, man. If we don't travel that much, you don't know this stuff. All right, you got to tell us how you got home, and then what are a couple of the spiritual lessons you learned.
But the getting back home is that this deal of them going through the embassy in Mexico City was huge. Because the embassy in Mexico City, they're the ones that deal with these situations.
Okay, gotcha.
And their first question is, well, are they being held for ransom? Mm-hmm. No. We don't know where they are. But Connie was in communication with them every day for a month as we traveled to the United States. She was in contact with them the first night in Mexico. And now it's 6 days.
Yeah, right.
No contact. So they knew something was up. So anyway, from the embassy, they contacted the consulate, and they gave them all of the information at the consulate in Guadalajara. So we spent the night at the hotel. The next morning, God sent a family down at the desk. I'm talking to the person at the desk, trying to make arrangements for an Uber to go to the consulate in Guadalajara. And this gal overheard it from the United States. Mother lives in Guadalajara, and she was amazing. And it's an angel for us. It was an angel. So she was able to help us with all the transportation. She took care of the Uber for us to get down to the consulate.
Wow.
So we get down to the consulate, and again, got all these guys in with their automatic weapons in their military gear all around the consulate. Well, we go up to the wrong side. They didn't know where it would go. They get us around to the correct side. And as we get around to the correct side, once we got up to the window to tell them who we were, they already had our names from our grandson who had made the contact to the embassy, to the consulate, and now then they were looking for us. Yeah. So we went to the head of the line. Long story short, first time that Connie felt safe, she broke down and cried when we got in with the interpreter, the person that was taking care of us. First time she had broken down, but it was like,
yeah, right.
God, you got us here.
Yeah, finally.
Oh, man. So the long story short there is we get our emergency passports. which took a long time. And we had to pay for that, which I still had a credit card. And once we had those emergency passports, they arranged, and the gal in there walked with us down to the taxi cab stand. She says, I'm going with you because we don't want you to have any further problems.
Yeah, right.
And I'm going, thank you. I'm not sure I can handle any further problems. So we got down to the taxi stand, took us back to the hotel. I made arrangements for a flight, which was wasn't that same day, had spent another night, and flew back to Orlando.
Good night.
Now then, Zach, if you are a traveler, I'm going to tell you that emergency passport will get you through the stuff you needed to do in that country. But when you get back to this country, that emergency passport is, instead of being gold, is a piece of paper. They didn't even accept it.
Really?
No. When we came through in Orlando, as we came in, you know how you check your passport and all that?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys need to go over here. And anytime they tell you at the airport to go over there, it's not good.
That's not a good thing.
It's not good.
I've seen Jason Bourne movies. I know. Right?
So took us over there, took us into another room where there were other people, and we had to go through a very, very strict secondary screening and had to explain and show them our police report.
Oh, yeah.
Had to go through basically our whole endeavor.
Thing. Yeah.
In order to get back into this country. And I told Connie initially, I said, Connie, all this stuff we've got to do, let's just go up to the border and cross. We had open borders at that point.
It wouldn't have been illegal.
The people that were coming in as illegal aliens, immigrants, whatever, they were getting in easier than we were.
Oh, my gosh. That's great. Oh. Well, God got you home, and everything you have is in storage, and so there's a lot to unpack after that. And then you came back to where you got your stuff.
Came back to a rental car.
Yeah.
14 days rental car. Came back to a hotel. 14 days in the hotel. And after 12 days of looking for a rental home that is furnished in Orlando or Oviedo, preferably Oviedo, there are none.
Yeah, wow.
There are no furnished homes. Everything's unfurnished. We looked at some houses for rent, and they weren't very nice. And on the 12th day, I go, Connie, I said, I've got to do something. So I expand my search, and there are a bunch of furnished homes for rent in the villages.
So that's how you ended up there.
We actually had gone up to Margaritaville in Daytona, and we looked up there at houses, and it just wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
So we're desperate. So we go up to the villages, and wow, Connie had never been there. I had never been there. So that's where we ended up landing with a rental.
Man. Oh, man. Well, let's think about a couple of key ideas of the goodness of God in this, and just that He spared your life. Number one,
absolutely. We weren't ransomed.
You weren't taken into captivity, and eventually you got back. And what made this another real challenging thing is it was shortly thereafter, a year later, or maybe less than that, Connie has physical problems, and
we rented a short-term house in the villages for 6 weeks, actually a month. They gave us 2 weeks because when we would tell our story, when we talk about God and our testimony and that.
Sure.
I think that there have been numerous seeds planted that there's dancing in heaven, because I think that there's been somebody brought to discipleship. I don't know that. but God does. But our testimony, when we would tell this story, it was like, oh my God, what in the world?
Yeah.
How did you get through? We'd tell them the whole story.
Yeah.
And
It's almost like, God, come on, this really didn't happen. And then you start all the details, and it really did.
and we always would, in the conversation, would fall back upon our faith.
Yeah. Right. Good.
And that first step going after, what are we going to do? We'd take a step and take another step. And knowing that we weren't alone. I mean, we're holding hands, but we knew that God was there with us.
Right.
So we are up in the villages, and then after those 6 weeks, we found a home that we were renting then for a year. So we had a year's lease. We broke the lease, and interesting story, because we're looking at homes, and our 2 granddaughters are here. One's a nurse, the other's going to be the orthopedic surgeon. So the 4 of us, Connie, myself, and the 2 granddaughters, we're looking at homes. And Connie and I, we had different things that we were looking for in a home. So we'd found a couple of homes that we thought were okay, let's make an offer. I go, let's give it a day. I look things up and go, there's one more house that we should take a look at so that I know for sure what to offer on these other 2.
Okay. Yeah.
So we go down and we looked at this house with the realtor. Oh my gosh, Jason, have you been in a situation where you're the only guy and there's 3 women that have all come to a definite, this is going to be it. And you're going, it really doesn't meet my criteria. I can tell you, if you're in that situation, just go ahead and go, okay, God, it's in your hands. Because this was Connie's house. The 2 granddaughters, Nana, this is you. This is you. And Connie's pulling out the drawer, instead of just cabinets that open, all the drawers that slide out and everything just she wants. Well, it didn't have the view. I was the one that wanted the view. So, but as it turns out, we went to Disney Springs the next day, and I had the offer in on the house, and the 2 granddaughters go, this is going to come through. This is going to come. We prayed about it last night. So the next day I bought the house.
All right. There you go.
Connie's house.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
So we put in a fireplace. We did crown molding, she and I together, all this stuff inside to make it her house. So it was her home.
Give her some of that security back that she had lost.
And that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So we go along, and we just were to the point where we had been a month with everything done. Everything was completed. We were talking about what we were going to be doing, some additional things in the village. We already had our church.
Good.
We had a non-denominational Connection Point church with Pastor Jerry Romes and his wife, Lori. That's who Connie hugged the day she had her aphasia and went into the hospital. So everything was moving along, and we were just going to sit back and really start to enjoy our retirement and the things that we wanted to do. And then she has this aphasia, and we go to the hospital, and she's flown to Shands, and 11 nights and 12 days up there. Biopsies, they drill a hole in your head and take the biopsies because it was brain cancer. Glioblastoma. And glioblastoma is a death sentence. It's, you read about it, and it's just a death sentence. So I bring her home, and God gave us 6 weeks that were remarkable. She had total amnesia, except for me. And I have no idea why I was there with her.
Wow.
One of the toughest things that I've had happen to me in my lifetime, You say, well, oh, you were working. No. Toughest thing that I've ever had to deal with is when she was in that emergency room and she has aphasia. She can't speak properly and she's not functioning well. She's sitting over there being quizzed by a doctor, and I'm sitting across to where she's getting eye contact with me. She's wanting me to help her and answer.
Yeah, that's...
I can't do that.
Yeah.
That was tough.
Yeah. Oh, no.
So we get her home, and she has codeine issues, and she quits breathing. So they knew to not give her codeine pain medications. So they were going to give her oxycodone. So I do my deep dive in the oxycodone, and it is in the same category as the codeine medicine, codeine pain medications. So I'm concerned that she might quit breathing. So I go, I really don't want to go that direction. Let's try something else. So they put her on a new migraine headache medication. It took her from an 8 down to a 3 and on pain level. So she decided that, I can live with this. So it's okay. So we leave the hospital with that as our medication. And driving home from Gainesville to the Villages, she now is up and about, which she's basically been all bedridden before.
Sure.
So she's in a lot of pain. And as we are coming down 75, she's in more and more pain. Well, I can't live with that. I can't have her in pain. So I called the hospice. I'd already made all the arrangements with hospice. And called hospice, and they got me hooked up with the doctor. And the doctor, there's nothing that we can do other than the oxycodone. She says, okay, call it in. So she had a prescription for 5 milligrams of oxycodone every 4 hours. And I was still concerned she quit breathing. Now she's in my care. So I'm really concerned. So I get the prescription, and I go ahead and half it, 2.5 milligrams. So every 4 hours, the first 3 doses, 2.5 milligrams, and it's a little better, but she still has pain. So after the first 3 doses, I went ahead then and gave her the 5 milligrams the next 4 hours. And from that point on, she never had one bit of pain.
Wow.
And if you read glioblastoma and the things that go with it, that's
amazing.
A miracle.
Yeah.
She never had the first pain. And when we went into that house, her home, when we went into that home, she remembered it. And she had total amnesia. I mean, she didn't, the grandkids and her son's daughter had come to visit her in the hospital. She didn't know who they were.
Yeah, right. Wow.
So not only was that house a blessing because it's the best gift I've ever given someone, but it was a blessing in that it was therapy. Wow. Best therapy that she had was that home. So we were 6 weeks, and we enjoyed a wonderful Thanksgiving and a wonderful Christmas. And Christmas Day, she was on the top of her game. Family was there. She was at the top of her game. And 2 hours after midnight, she was non-responsive. And December 27th, she passed. Never had any pain.
Wow. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
There is so much here and so much in this story. And James says, "Consider it all joy, my brothers, when you encounter various trials of various sorts." That's life. And we think of retirement, and we think of what retirement will be, and we have high hopes, but our hopes have to be in Jesus no matter what. And your lifetime of walking with him has been crucial. And we will continue to pray for you in this next phase of readjusting now, because it's still all very fresh.
It's a new normal that I don't know what it is.
You're
at
not
this
there
point.
yet.
No,
I know.
No.
And my goodness. But we love you. And we thank you for telling a story, your story to us. And to how this will speak to so many men I know.
Well, that's one of the things that, as we told this testimony of Mexico, I know we touched the hearts of numerous people. So this podcast and then the talking about Connie's passing and the things there, if that touches someone, that's what we're here for. I mean, the only thing that we are sent out to do is to bring disciples to Christ. That's our one ultimate duty, goal, job, work, whatever you want to call it. That's what we're supposed to do. So if that can be touch one person, that's like the 99. You leave the 99 to get the one. And if that is the case, then we are gold.
Wow.
Well, Jeff, thank you for sharing your story and for coming on the podcast. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. And it was good to be back with my Forge brothers.
Absolutely.
And to spend the morning with Forge, because it's been a long time since I've been with you guys.
That's right.
So my table was still there, and Kenny Mack was at work doing what I used to do. So
That's right.
It was good morning. Thank you all, Bishop.
And
Zach,
thank you for your
Pastor
ministry.
Pete, thank
yes,
you.
man.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
And I want to thank everyone at home for listening to this episode of the Forge Truth Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, what we talked about today, you can email us at forge@forgetruth.com or leave a comment where you're listening to the show today. Pete, will you lay a challenge down for our men today?
Okay. All right. Well, men, the challenge is live following Jesus every day. And remember what your major mission really is. Romans 8:28 is true. All things really do work together for good to those who love God and are called according to his purpose. We need each other. We need the Lord in our lives. And we need to keep focused on that which is important for his glory, which always leads to our good. Pray for Jeff White, and we will too. Jeff, we love you. God bless you.
Thank you.